Hey guys, MLJOR here, and today I wanted to share some of my thoughts as well as some of my first impressions on the Black Ops Cold War Alpha. But before we start, I do want to get some things out of the way, and that is that I streamed and played the Alpha for 48 hours straight. If you want to check out the Major being delusional and completely incoherent, the link will be down in the description below. A super quick disclaimer is that I'm not associated with Activision, so my review is completely subjective. Also, I'm a bit of a Call of Duty fanboy, so take everything that I say with a grain of salt. Do keep in mind that this is my opinion, and if you just so happen to disagree, well, you're wrong, Bobby. You're wrong. So we're gonna touch on a lot of aspects about the game, tackling them one by one. Starting off with graphical fidelity. I'm not gonna talk about graphical fidelity, animations, and frame rate, since that has been the biggest complaint from the community, and how it's a huge step down from Modern Warfare. My thoughts on this are exactly the same, and those claims are entirely true. But I do have some input on the topic that I briefly want to touch on, and that is an actual theory that the alpha that we got to play was a very, very old version. And that has all to do with the fact that the alpha wasn't just a downgrade from Modern Warfare, not even a downgrade from Black Ops 4. To me, it barely held a candle to Black Ops 3 running on an Xbox One X. I believe that the beta will be a true beta, and not some 6-month-old demo they pushed to satisfy the exclusivity deal with Sony. Another thing to keep a note of is that Tony Flame, one of the developers from Treyarch, put up this tweet. Now, he put this out at 6:49 p.m., only 7 hours after the alpha, and the tone to me seems to be distant and analytical, instead of responsive. I think that by this point, they already had the beta done, they already knew the problems with the alpha, and it was already fixed, and they just pushed something out. But why put out the alpha in such a state, you may ask? Well, kill two birds with one stone. Number one, you satisfy the PlayStation exclusivity deal, and two, you look like an absolute god when the beta is optimized. That's my theory. We only had access to 3 maps available, and that is Miami, Satellite, and Moscow. And before you go down in the comments and say that there were 2 more maps available, I like my Call of Duty Classic. I never enjoyed Ground War, and I didn't enjoy Cold War's version of Ground War. To me, it felt like playing a running simulator 2020, and I'm just not into that. But in my opinion, the maps that we did get for CV6 were great, especially Satellite, as it has 2 maps combined into one. On one side, you have the Sand Dunes, which is a DMR sniper gun range, and on the other, you have the caves, as well as the actual Satellite, which is a close-quarter, aggressive frenzy. And somehow, it all plays extremely well. Classic 3-lane maps all around. But comparing the map design to Modern Warfare, which had a lot more complexity, it was very easy to conceal yourself when you took damage. I really wish there was a balance between the both, the complex level of cover and the balls to the wall action from a traditional 3-lane map. Now that would be perfect. But it's not rainbows and sunshines. Both school of thoughts have their faults. In Cold War, you can't get away from the action, even if you wanted to. And in Modern Warfare, there's too many nooks and crannies to set up shop and camp. But map design overall was different, familiar, but good. A couple hours of gameplay, and you really start to enjoy it. Movement, on the other hand, is a whole different story. It felt floaty and not grounded. The slide was absolutely broken, and everything felt too fast. But at the same time, like you were not going anywhere, like a treadmill effect. The best way for me to compare this is that in Modern Warfare, the operators seemed to have weight. They felt like actual 200-pound humans, plus 60 pounds worth of kit. They felt realistic and clunky. You could feel that they had the armor plates and the backpacks and they were full of equipment. But the Cold War operators feel like the Pilates teacher at your local gym with ankle weights. They felt loose, too fluid, way too wavy. And this is coming from an aggressive player. After the 48-hour stream, I went back to Modern Warfare, and the difference in the movement became obvious. To draw a clear line between the two, Cold War made me feel like I was a bullet sponge on a Back to the Future hoverboard. Going back to Modern Warfare made me feel like my shoes were made out of cinder blocks and that I was made out of paper. The reason to choose a Scorestreak system over a killstreak system is to reward players who play the objective. Also, to encourage people to not play every single game mode as just another TDM match. The problem starts when you factor the multiplier that you get per kill. If a Scorestreak is worth 1,000 points, your first kill is 50 points. The second is the 50 points plus a 50 bonus. The third is a 50 plus 150 bonus. And then to speed it up, right after you get those 5 kills, you're getting almost 500 score per kill, which means that if you want those higher end streaks, you will need to go on kill streaks. But there's a point where it reduces the incentive to play the objective. For example, if I'm playing domination, there is no reason for me to try and capture the flag if I already have more than 1 kill, as the next kill that I get will give me more score than capturing said flag. But that's not all. There's also requisitions in this game. Requisitions has been in other CODs, but it works a little different. Before, it used to be a perk that you had to put into your loadout, and what it will do is that it will not reset your streaks on death, but put them at a higher price. In Cold War, everyone has requisitions, and the kill streaks are always at a high price. In short, no one plays the objective, and at the end of the match, everyone calls their streak in. Is this a deal breaker? No. Will they fix it? I don't know. And do I care? Absolutely not. In every COD, I always use UAV, counter UAV, and advanced UAV. I feel like kill streaks are too overpowered. When I see that 30 and 5 on the scoreboard, I like the feeling of knowing that I did that, not a support chopper. I like doing the killing myself. That way, it's just a little bit more personal. And now, for the moment you all been waiting for. Gunplay to me felt like Black Ops 4. And that's it, that's all I have to say about that. That's all for me today. See you guys in the next one. Major Cade, out. Nah, I'm kidding. But it was really slow. It was a really slow TTK. It took 2 whole bursts from the M16 and 3 to 4 shots from the Type 63. The Type 63 is the rifle with the most damage apart from snipers. And even though a slow TTK allows for more gunplay, like in Warzone where you have to sustain a certain level of accuracy and you have more time to avoid sudden death, it also stops from the shoot first kill first scenario. There are a lot of things that you can do to counter within the gunfight when you have a longer TTK. But to me, as a person who's used to doing things like this, and that's why it's called a double tap show. I can shoot 2 bullets, secure the kill, and not miss a single shot. But the only DMR that was available was the Type 63. And honestly, it felt like a reskin of the Aga DMR from Black Ops 4. So for me and my playstyle, it was a little bit disappointing. Now, there are 2 caveats to the gunplay. And the first one is that the Type 63 was the only DMR we had access to. So who knows? There might be a double tap weapon on there. And the other one is that during my time in the alpha, I got a weird bug where all the attachments in the alpha for the Type 63 were unlocked. And I have a video where I go in depth into that. The link will be in the top right hand screen. But something I do want to mention is that I did unlock the barrel that increased the damage. And I tested it with a couple people who were AFK and literally did 99 damage, leaving the enemy with only 1 point of health. Maybe it needed to be tweaked, maybe I wasn't supposed to be using it yet, but to leave an enemy 1 sneeze away from death is infuriating. And that's how I'm gonna segue into the last segment for today, gunsmith and weapon balance. Now, out of all the topics, I feel like this is the one that is subject to change the most and the one that needs the most change. Every update will try and break the meta, but it never really does. My biggest problem with the gunsmith, it was the fact that it didn't make sense in the most important parts. For example, the gunsmith in Modern Warfare, there are tiny little attachments that don't make sense. One of those will be the stipple grip tip. It gives me faster ADS speed, but takes away idle sway. That simply doesn't compute in the real world. But in Cold War, it's the big attachments, the one that really alter the way a gun performs that don't make sense. Like the 17.3 Task Force barrel. I'm getting 14% more damage and 14% ADS speed. If you look at the cons, all it does is that it takes away 2 bullets out of the mag. To sum it up, I'm going to be doing more damage and I'm gonna aim down sight faster and I'm just gonna lose 2 bullets per mag. Like, come on. There is literally no other barrel that compared to how good this one is. What this means is that if you encounter a person with the same skill level as you, the same gun as you, the same reaction time as you, and they have this barrel and you don't, their gun is just simply better and they will win the gunfight. My problem with this is that it kills creativity. Worse yet, it makes for a very solid meta across all weapons and all attachments. 2 months into the game, and the meta weapons are going to be on top. Except this time, they will have the exact same attachment, because there is no competition between attachments. And that's what I'm very afraid of. Modern Warfare had a very, very strong meta. When was the last time you saw somebody running an FS Scar, the Dragunov, an AK-47, an EBR-14? Modern Warfare has clear winners in every weapon class. This year, we're looking at the same 6 meta weapons, except this time, all of them will have the exact same attachment. My final thoughts is, I'm worried. There are aspects of the game that will surely be fixed, whether that be graphical fidelity, animations, and that slide. There are other aspects that we have to live with, like map design and score streaks. But I'm more concerned about the overall balance. I'm not asking for balanced weapons. I know that will never happen. But attachments are completely broken, and that's what I hope they focus on. Only time will tell. With the beta just a few short days away, I'm sure we will see some changes. Other than that, Major Cade, out.